Breaking news coming in overnight. An agreement between the Trump administration and Colombia to end a standoff over deportation flights and tariffs that could have raised prices for Americans on coffee and fresh flowers just ahead of Valentine's Day. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is in Miami, where Trump is meeting with Republican lawmakers. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you. And this was a tense standoff, a tit for tat between the United States and one of its most important allies in Latin America. But a senior administration official tells me all of it was designed to send a very clear message: accept these deportation flights or face the consequences.
With the U.S. and Colombia on the brink of a trade war over President Donald Trump's deportation flights, overnight the White House announcing an agreement has been reached. For hours, the two allies locked in a tense standoff after Colombia refused to accept two military deportation flights from the U.S., turning them away when the planes were already en route. President Trump responding, vowing to impose 25% tariffs on all Colombian imports, which experts say would have devastated Colombia's economy and raised the price of everything from coffee to crude oil, bananas, and flowers for U.S. consumers just before Valentine's Day. The United States is Colombia's largest trading partner. Colombian President Gustavo Petro fired back with tariffs of his own, insisting he would only accept migrants deported in civilian aircrafts who were treated with dignity and respect. The Colombian president referencing this deportation flight to Brazil. Authorities there say some were denied water and access to a bathroom. Overnight, the White House announcing the two sides have reached an agreement, vowing to hold off on those tariffs, but still imposing visa restrictions and halting visa services at the U.S. Embassy until those deportation flights land in Colombia. In a statement, the White House press secretary warning President Trump expects all other nations of the world to fully cooperate in accepting the deportation of their citizens illegally present in the United States.
We don't allow people to enter our country and to dump their prisons into the United States of America anymore.
For the first time in U.S. history, military aircrafts have been used to deport undocumented migrants. Our Martha Raddatz sitting down with Trump's border czar, Tom Homan.
What about those countries that won't take them back?
Oh, they'll take them back.
What do you mean by that?
We got President Trump coming to power. President Trump puts America first.
Homan overseeing a steady increase in ICE arrests, with officials from multiple law enforcement agencies launching a joint operation in Chicago Sunday. Immigration crackdowns now spanning from Atlanta to Los Angeles and even Omaha.
So this morning in a statement, the Colombian government says that it has overcome an impasse with the United States, saying that they plan to send representatives to Washington, D.C. to meet with the Trump administration. But the White House press secretary says if Colombia violates any terms of this agreement, those tariffs are back on, George.
And Rachel, the president, in the words of his people, is flooding the zone with actions, including a move over the weekend to fire the independent inspector generals across the government. Even some of his allies are suggesting he didn't do it in a way that was legal.
Yeah, exactly, George. This was a late night purge. Sources tell us that President Donald Trump fired at least 17 inspectors generals. These are independent watchdogs charged with overseeing key agencies, making sure there's no waste, fraud, or abuse. The president is supposed to give Congress a 30 days notice if he intends to fire an inspector general. That did not happen. So this is even rubbing Republicans the wrong way. The president was asked directly about this. He said those were not his people and that he plans to replace them, George.
And the president doubling down on the pardon of those convicted for the riots on January 6th.
Yeah, and this was notable, George, because over the weekend, the president had a rally in Las Vegas. And one of the people that was seated in the VIP section was Stuart Rhodes. He's the founder of the Oath Keepers. He was convicted of seditious conspiracy, sentenced to 18 years in prison. That was until the president commuted his sentence. He was seated right behind the president as he was speaking. And he didn't just attend that rally in Las Vegas. I will tell you, just days ago, we saw him on Capitol Hill right after his sentence was commuted. I asked him directly that if he had any regrets about his actions on January 6th. He told me no, George.
Rachel Scott, thanks very much.